Have you ever woken up at 2 or 3 in the morning, looked at the clock, and immediately felt like something was wrong with you? Like your body was broken and doing something it wasn't supposed to do? Your sleep patterns were failing, like aging was somehow catching up with you. Well, what if I told you that for most of human history, waking up in the middle of the night was completely normal? It was not considered insomnia, not dysfunction, and certainly not menopause. And what if the idea that we are all supposed to sleep 8 uninterrupted hours every single night is actually a relatively modern invention created for a very specific reason? In this video, we're going to look at the topic of first sleep and second sleep, and how industrialized life may have disrupted our natural human rhythms. And maybe that is why so many women in particular feel exhausted trying to force themselves into another unnatural pattern. And at the end of the video, I'll show you some practical tips on how to realign to your natural rhythms. My name is Elisa, and I'm the Rebel Crone, and around here, we like to question everything. When I first started waking up around 3:30 in the morning, that seems to be my golden hour, I thought something was wrong with me because that's what we've all been taught. You wake up in the middle of the night, well, then clearly your sleep is bad and you need fixing. You need medication. You need melatonin. You need a better mattress. You need magnesium. You need something. So I tried the natural choices. Melatonin, which did help me sleep better, gave me some pretty vivid dreams as well, at least for a time. I also tried valerian root, which helped for a time. I tried no TV, no cell phone, no eating after dinner, and they all seemed helpful for a time. When I finally realized that fighting it was futile, that's when I noticed something very interesting. Those quiet middle-of-the-night hours are some of the most creative and insightful moments of my life. I fully embraced this time when I started writing novels. I would wake up at the usual time, somewhere between 2:30, 4:30, and whole ideas would start downloading. Sometimes they would come in one big download, and at other times in a slow progression. Either way, I quickly learned that something profound was happening, and if I didn't seize the moment, I would risk not remembering it in the morning. At first, I would force myself by doing all sorts of mental gymnastics to make sure that I remembered what came in. But in doing that, I would wake myself up completely. So after a bit, I simply decided to get up and to write. Now, some chapters would come in pristine format with little editing needed. Sometimes a problem with a specific part of the book where I was struggling would come through perfectly solved. Dialogues between characters, word for word, would be refined. Plots worked out. This was all happening in the stillness of the night, where I could actually listen much deeper to my creative muses inside of me. Currently, I'm not working on a book, but I still use this magical time in the golden hours to contemplate, to work out whatever is moving through my heart. Many of my video ideas come to me in the wee hours. And then there are the times when I'm just plain ruminating and not able to reel in my thoughts. At those times, I might listen to soft music, a meditation tape, or an inspiring book on tape. Set the timer for about 30 minutes, and then usually that's enough time to just slip me back into a deep sleep. The point is that I no longer resist these times. I no longer fight them, worry about them, feel like there's something wrong with me. In fact, I feel like there's something really right with me, something perfect and something really powerful that's working out. Those early wake-up calls now feel more natural to me than forcing myself to sleep straight through an entire night, because modern society has told me that that's what healthy humans do. Au contraire, I have found it just the opposite. So let's look at a little bit of historical backup. Historians have found evidence that before the Industrial Revolution, many people across different cultures practiced something called segmented sleep. People would go to bed shortly after dark and have what was called first sleep. Then they would naturally wake up for an hour or two in the middle of the night. And during that time, they would pray, they would have quiet conversations, maybe make love, tend the fires, reflect, or they would simply sit quietly. And then when the time was ripe, they would go back to sleep again for second sleep. There are references to this all throughout historical writings. But once industrialization changed the world with artificial lighting, factory schedules, clock time living, productivity culture, human sleep patterns began changing too. We stopped organizing life around natural rhythms and started organizing it around economic systems. I think a lot of people, especially women, sensitive people, and older people, still feel that tension inside of themselves because their bodies remember something older, something quieter, something more humane, something that existed before constant stimulation, before productivity became identity, before exhaustion became normal. And this is where I get to the part I like, delving into the deeper mystery. What if waking up in the middle of the night for most people has nothing to do with pathology? What if it's your nervous system trying to return to a more natural rhythm? And within that rhythm is a vital key for balance and harmony and happiness. You see, modern life has trained us to believe that this is a problem, especially for women. Hormonal changes, that's a problem. You're too sensitive, that's another problem. You just need to get more rest, honey, that's a problem. You're just being emotional again, that's a problem. Waking up in the night, that's a problem. Women especially seem to suffer when separated from natural rhythms because so much of the feminine experience is based around cycles, day and night, the seasons. It's based around intuition. We are more emotional and relational by nature. And these sort of things are worked out in the quiet darkness of the soul connection. But modern life asks us to override all of that. Try to be constantly productive, constantly available, constantly performing. It's linear, it's predictable, and it's efficient, and it all gets done in the light of day. And maybe that's why so many women feel exhausted now, especially as they age. Not because they're falling apart or just getting old or menopausal, but because they're trying to live against rhythms their bodies were never designed to sustain. What if we were to look at our morning wake-up calls as signals that the body is trying to adjust itself, to realign, to integrate, to organize in a very specific feminine way? And maybe the real problem is that modern industrialized and capitalized life has taught us to override our natural rhythms in service to its productivity. Think about it. The modern world was built around clocks and schedules, the work day, time cards, productivity, efficiency, all those things, profit, 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 all done during the day. Our paradigms of how to be a success are not built around contemplation, intuition, emotional balance, and not around creativity emerging from the silence and stillness. Somewhere along the way, we stopped organized life around all these natural, beautiful rhythms and started organizing human beings around these economic systems, not around the deeper, darker, beautiful, rich rhythms that nurture the connection between body, mind, and spirit. So what if the time between sleep 1 and sleep 2 is actually sacred? A space once built into human life for that beautiful reflection, for dream integration, for intimacy, for prayer, for creativity, for emotional processing, for simply being. It is always important to look at the end result to discover the deeper motivation. What happens to the human soul when every moment of darkness becomes optimized, scheduled, or medicated away. Now, I'm not saying every sleep issue is spiritual in nature or historical. Sometimes people genuinely need some medical help. Sometimes anxiety is real, and sometimes hormones absolutely play a role. What I am saying is that for the rest of us, carrying unnecessary fear, anxiety, and shame around waking up in the night is a red flag of a different sort. Now, I invite you to try something different the next time you go to sleep, maybe tonight. Make an intention about something you are trying to work out creatively, something about a relationship or any sort of problem or desired inspiration. Go ahead and set that intention before you go to sleep. Ask if the answers will come to you when you wake up in the middle of the night. Then when your wake-up call arrives, instead of worrying, be curious and listen. Remember that listening may not be actually hearing words, but more feelings or thoughts that seem to be your own. Follow them and see where they lead you. You might be surprised. The final thoughts here, consider that waking up early may not be your body betraying you. Maybe it's trying to speak to you. And maybe beneath all the noise of modern life, all the waking daylight busyness, your body is still trying to remember its original rhythm. Maybe there is wisdom in the quiet hours, deep, beautiful, dark, rich wisdom, feminine wisdom. And maybe one more thing we thought was wrong with us was never wrong in the first place. Well, that's it for today from the Rebel Crone. I wish you a wonderful day, and even more importantly, that you have a beautiful, rich, segmented sleep and enjoy it.